Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Click and Mortar podcast. Dustin and Mike here with you again. And we are here today to talk to you about retargeting. Maybe you have heard this word before. I was actually in Uber a couple months ago and brought up this word, and the Uber driver was fascinated about the concept. So you've probably heard the term retargeting. For people who have not heard the term retargeting, it's commonly used in our industry. It's essentially a technique for engaging with people as they've gone through certain parts of their journey in their interactions with you. Facebook really revolutionized and put retargeting on the map because so many people were coming back to Facebook and coming back to Instagram from out on the open web. And so it allowed advertisers to re-message people. And that's really essentially what it is. It's re-messaging people who have already engaged with you on some level with a new piece of advertising or a new piece of information or a new piece of content. So there's a lot in this bucket of retargeting that we want to talk about. We're going to touch on the high level of the retargeting topic, and Dustin's going to get into some of those areas. There's a lot more we could get into if we wanted to. We're trying to keep it straightforward. Just know that if you're doing digital marketing and advertising and you're just starting, you're going to hear the word retargeting a lot. And you need to know in general what it is, and then some of the specifics of what it is, because your budget is going to go here, at least part of it. And Dustin will give you some parameters around that. So with that, Dustin, why don't you kick it off with how we approach retargeting, the areas to think about, and really where people should be focusing, the questions they should be asking around retargeting.
Absolutely. Retargeting is probably my favorite topic in marketing, and probably the most underutilized. And really it's what drives the action. And that's probably why I like it so much, is what drives the ROI. And so, a lot of people will ask, what should I be retargeting? What are the best audiences? And it's different for every business. And you need to get honed in to the data and the analytics and see how people are engaging with your content, your website. We'll get into a little bit of that here in a minute, but the basics are what everyone should have. You should be retargeting all your website visitors in the last 30 days, in the last 7 days. On social, anyone that's liked, commented, or engaged with any of your posts organically or through ads, you should be building an audience around them and continuing that message. The reason why it's so powerful is there's so many ads and we see so many of them, and it takes building a relationship to drive that action. So retargeting allows you to build that relationship. And the reason why I love it is it's the conversational aspect of it. If you keep saying, buy for me, buy for me, buy for me, eventually, you're not going to get the result you want. You keep saying the same thing. On the other end, I'm sure most people are familiar with this, where you look at a pair of shoes, you leave, those same pair of shoes just follow you with the same message. The power in retargeting is what you say and look at the data and analytics and how they're engaging. So you could show other shoes that are similar to them, similar styles, whatever it may be. And you could do it, through video, and you could start seeing what calls to actions, what selling points. Is it, a testimonial? Is it someone wearing it? Is it someone playing a sport with it on? You start identifying, where people are actually watching video, and that allows you to start producing more. So I think there's a huge opportunity in really understanding your audience and what they're doing and how they're engaging with your brand to guide what audience should I build and what content should I continue the conversation with. I'll pause there.
Yeah, I would encourage you who are listening and following along to watch our podcast on the blueprint funnel and what to create at different parts of the funnel. A lot of retargeting is the second and third stages of your funnel. So people have already expressed interest. What do you talk to them about now? Then people have the desire. What do you talk to them about now? And then what's the offer? So essentially in digital marketing, the bottom 3/4 of the funnel is pretty much all retargeting. You have to put your best foot out there initially to grab attention and why you, all of that with your initial awareness creative. The bottom of the funnel is retargeting. And like Dustin said, typically it's based on data of what people are doing when they interact with you. Are they watching a video? Are they shopping in your shopping cart and your product pages? Are they going to About Me pages? That type of thing. You have to look at the data to see what creative you then want to retarget them with, as far as what might be the next questions that they have that you're trying to answer. That is really the art and science here, is knowing the next questions. It's like a conversation, like Dustin said. Hey, I have this question. Hey, let me answer it. Hey, now I have this question. Let me answer that. That's really the back and forth of retargeting, and you need to have creative that speaks to that and speaks to that user journey as they're moving along it.
Yep. And that, like you said, it's the conversation. So a good example would be, if you get someone to a product page and someone doesn't scroll down, they only see the top part of the page and they don't see anything below, compared to someone that stays for 4 minutes and they scroll down, they scroll up, they watch videos. What would you say to those two people? Chances are you're going to say something different to them, because you know that they've engaged differently. You know that they've consumed different content. So the person that spent 4 minutes, you know what they have and what they've digested to make that purchase. The person that didn't scroll down, you know what they're missing, the testimonials, the product description, all these things that help drive that sale. That gives you ammunition to then, okay, if they don't know about the reviews, let's retarget them with reviews. If they don't know about XYZ, then you retarget there. So again, getting really honed into the data and analytics and how are people engaging with you and your content to really build audiences in the content. Same goes for, a video. If someone watches 8 seconds compared to a 3-minute video, you know what someone's consumed. If they've watched 3 minutes, you know how to follow up that conversation or the next phrase or communication to have to guide them, as opposed to someone that just skipped right away. They need a lot more to be guided through that journey. So
yeah, what would you say are table stakes at the beginning? You said a little bit earlier, table stakes at the beginning that everyone needs to have, and or should you even have retargeting campaigns set up from the beginning, or are you just data gathering on what people do? I've heard people say, yes, build your retargeting campaigns first, actually, and then do the rest. As far as table stakes go, what should everybody have from the beginning? If you're pretty much, let's say, starting with $5,000 a month in budget, right? Because budget does dictate some of this. If you're starting with that, what should they start with? And then that's kind of it. What should people start with, the newbies?
Yep. And this is a great question. It part of it depends on how much presence and brand awareness do you have. A lot of it is driven by website traffic. So if you're just starting out and you only get 200 visits a month, you're going to need to spend a bit more on bringing new people to the website. If you've been around for a while and you haven't been spending any dollars, you're getting 20,000 website visits a month. Retargeting should be the only thing that you do out the gate, because it's going to drive ROI. You're going to see success quicker, and it's the low-hanging fruit. So it really depends on how much brand awareness you have. The less you have, the less retargeting out the gate. The more you have, the more retargeting you do. And looking at Google Analytics and site traffic would help show that. And if you're kind of in the middle, you got a couple grand, maybe 1,000 website visits a month, I would typically split it in half and do 50-50. And really look at the frequency on that retargeting. The goal is to push as much to retargeting as you can, while looking at frequency and not getting above 1 or 2 exposures a day. Or if you look at the last 7 days, you want that frequency to be at 10 or somewhere below that. If you start getting into the last 7 days and you're showing 30 times, that means you don't have a large enough audience and you're over investing into the retargeting. So we need to shift more over to prospecting. So it's a little complex. So it's how much brand awareness do you have, the audience that's there. The bigger it is, the more retargeting. And the big goal is put as much retargeting budget as you can and keep an eye on that frequency and kind of change the allocation of the distribution accordingly.
As you can see, folks at home, there's some nuance to this conversation. It's not just a straight answer. Typically, for newbies as well, you should know that retargeting is much more ROI beneficial than prospecting, obviously, because it's people who have already engaged with you. The likelihood is that they're going to go further down the field and either buy from you or schedule an appointment, make a meeting, etc. So you need to build those audiences with your prospecting, obviously, and then the retargeting can increase more and more and more. But as we pointed out, and as Dustin gets into, there's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of in and outs. So you need to pay attention to some of that fine print.
Yeah, the one thing we haven't touched on, a lot of what we talked about is website traffic and engaging with social, but there's huge opportunity in taking your first party database and uploading them to all the ad platforms and targeting them. A good example, I mean, e-commerce. If someone hasn't purchased in more than 6 months, that should be an audience that, how do you get them to come back and purchase a second time? If you're a service-based business, you have different stages in your sales pipeline, you could take the people at the various stages and remarket to them. And so it's not even just about how they engage with the website or your socials. First party data is extremely, extremely powerful. The more data points you have on someone, the more you know about them, the better conversation you can have with them. And you can leverage that by uploading them and retargeting them and getting them to come back and purchase again, or accelerating that sales progression.
Great point. There are more data sources than just your ad data. There are numbers of other, like Dustin has said, with your first party data, and you can use those to build audiences as well for retargeting. Cool, Dustin. Any last words before we check out here?
No, just do the retargeting, look at the data, and keep asking yourself, how would I converse with this person if it were a real life human being? That's the best way to kind of approach this.
I love that. And as we said, there's a lot of nuance here. So if you want to schedule a demo call with us, the links are here and on our website. You can schedule a demo. We love talking to people and digging in and getting into some of these strategic ideas. So feel free to reach out and schedule a demo with us at any time. Until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Dustin.
And we're at EIC Agency. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.